Hi, this is Joe Salvamini, and I'm principal of Carlson Home Hospital School, and we're now going to be talking about the Supplemental Teacher Orientation video Part 6, which is on the enrollment discharge form, another very important form. One of the things I want to say before we get into the form is that Carlson teachers have to, it's expected that Carlson teachers will be performing other types of duties that they normally would not be performing at a traditional school setting because of the this type of a setup that we are. Remember, we have students throughout the entire district, and when in a typical type of a setting, when a student is enrolled in a school, the parent comes in, the student comes in, the parent goes to the registrar, they enroll the student. And then after the enrollment, then the student is able to, and all the paperwork is in, the student is able to actually attend classes. Well, our parents are not able to come in because they're taking care of their child. And the student's not able to come in because the student is sick. And so what happens is that you, in essence, as the Carlson supplemental teacher, you, in essence, become the not only the supplemental teacher, but also in some respects the registrar and maybe some other titles that you might be wearing as well. And so you have to bring the enrollment to them rather than they bring everything to you. Okay, so now what happens when you enroll a student? One of the requirements is that after you get that congratulatory email from me, congratulations, you've been assigned to student number 10-373. Okay, call your rep tomorrow morning by 9 a.m. or after 9 a.m. What you'll do is that starts a countdown. The student, you're required to make sure that you contact the parent within 3 days of when you received the assignment. You are required to actually start working with the student within 5 days of getting the assignment. I want you to keep in mind that the student, by the time the referral comes to us, the student has already been out of school. The student has already been missing school. And so the longer it's delayed for Carlson to start services, the more instructional catch-up the student will have to do. So we want to make sure that the students get enrolled immediately upon you getting the assignment. But you do have 5 days within which to do it. Now, as soon as you enroll the student, you need to make sure that you contact the rep. You need to make sure you contact your supplemental teacher rep to let the teacher know, to let your rep know that you actually enrolled the student, because we're not going to know that the student's officially enrolled until you make that phone call to us. Of course, you will be following all that up with paperwork to the office, but make sure you call it in so we can put that information into SIS. Okay? Now, this is the enrollment form. The title of this will change. It will be the enrollment/discharge form, because this form actually takes care of both enrollment information as well as discharge information. And I want to go through it. Basically, Section 1 has information about the student's address, the phone number, the birth date, age, things like that. Okay, Section number 2 deals with information related to the student's school. Section number 3 deals with information related to the student eing in and the expiration date, the medical expiration date of the student. Section 4 deals with the classes, the courses. Section 5 deals with the discharge information, and this little box down here tells you what to do with the paperwork once you enroll and or discharge the student. Okay, a lot of the information that you will find for sections 1, 2, and 3, and 4 will actually be found on the CSI document that we talked about earlier. A lot of this is related to Section 1 of the enrollment form. Section 2 is in here. And so you'll want to make sure this has a wealth of information. You'll want to make sure that you look at the CSI for the information that you will need, as well as talk with the parent. Okay. Now, enrollment paperwork. Now, one of the things after you enroll the child in school, you're required to make sure that you either hand deliver or via school mail send to your rep the enrollment paperwork within 3 days of enrollment. Okay, the enrollment paperwork includes documents like the enrollment discharge form. It includes the home language survey, the migrant education survey, student residency questionnaire, a few other documents. Very important is the meal application. I expect the meal applications in on the students that you enroll. Okay. Now, one of the things that you will be getting in the CSI document, it will tell you what classes to put the student in, what Carlson classes to put the student in. You must enroll the student in the exact course titles that you're told to enroll the student in. If you have a question about it, by all means call the Carlson counselor, because sometimes you have information that we don't, or you will have information that we don't, that affects whether or not the student can really take, because of their medical condition, can really take Algebra 2A, for example. Maybe they need to be in world history rather than Algebra 2A. That's information that you'll need to talk with the counselor about. But, you know, barring information like that, you will be putting the student in the exact course titles that you're given. Now remember that the student cannot, it's just impossible for a student to receive course credit for a non-existent LAUSD course title. So that's why the titles have to be exact. Okay, now the CSI document, when you look down in the purple section, although you might be getting a grayscale version of this, but in this purple section over here, it will say, like, this student is in the fall is to be enrolled in English 10A and Algebra 2A. Those are the two classes we expect to see on the enrollment form, unless you have another type of a conversation with the counselor. Okay, and let's see, the enrollment paperwork. When you enroll the student, you want to fill out, you know, parts 1 through 4, which includes the classes. Then you'll want to make sure you give the student's home school a phone call so you can talk with the teacher to find out what types of, you know, where they were in, you know, instructionally, and so you want to make, you know, make that connection. You will then send the enrollment form with an attached, go to the next one, attention slip. Here's the copy of the attention slip. Just attach this to the enrollment form, send it to the home school, as well as obviously you're sending the enrollment form into us as well, but you send this to the home school, so this way their registrar knows that they have to also record that Carlson is now the school of residence, or excuse me, the school of attendance. Okay, now discharge paperwork. The discharge paperwork, back when I showed you the enrollment form, it was in red at the bottom. It's when discharging a student, you want to call your rep on the last day that you service the student. So basically, the last time you service the student, make sure you call the rep, so this way we get that information into SIS immediately. Okay, and then the discharge paperwork is due to your rep within 5 days of the student discharging. After discharge, you will also send the enrollment discharge paperwork into Carlson to your rep with the parent assurance letter and a few other documents, and then you will also get a copy of the document of the enrollment discharge form out to the student's home school with that attention slip also attached to it. Okay. Now another thing to keep in mind is that a student must be given a progress report if the student has been given Carlson service, you know, for more than 2 weeks. So if you have the student for more than 2 weeks, you're required to give a progress report on the student. Okay, and then, you know, part of the discharge paperwork includes things like the parent assurance letter, the assignment grade sheets, and the progress report. We already said that. Okay, thank you very much, and you got everything you need to know about the enrollment discharge form.